good evening, and welcome to the Dr. Sophie Rothschild Show. And a little bit change up for you today, and I think change is sometimes good for everyone. And I hope you're enjoying the different scenery. I want to talk about something today that's very dear to my heart, which is what are some of the contributions that European civilization made to the world. Well, we had the Vikings, and the Vikings mastered the art of traveling on the high seas, and they were able to navigate even on cloudy nights where they had those very specialized stones that they could to locate the different position of stars in relation to the sun and the moon, and it would navigate. And we, in many cases, when in many excavations, they have located many ancient Viking ships. They were able to see these stones that they used to navigate. And also the Vikings who mastered the art of disposing of their waste on the high seas. We talk about the Celts and their many artistic endeavors. We also have the Stone Age. We also have the Etruscans and the many artistic endeavors, the Roman aqueduct, Roman bathhouses, and Roman civilization, and many Roman roads and bridges and bathhouses, and the Roman Senate, ancient Greece, many new concepts of war and Alexander the Great, and many of the ideas and the concept of the philosophy and artistic endeavors, and many of the idea of democracy. We also have there's the we talk about many medieval castles and churches and works of art. We also have many great ideas of the Industrial Revolution and ideas such as going to the moon and satellites and rocketry and metal airplanes and modern conveniences, Silicon Valley, smartphones, cell phones, computers, laptops, quantum computing, Starlink, all the major accomplishments of modern civilizations. We talk about things such as modern clothing, modern conveniences, sanitation, the ideas of the skyscraper, the idea of modern engineering and biological engineering and biochemistry and chemistry, and the new the plastics and many of the new innovations and many new technologies and modern warfare. That's and even though other cultures use these technologies, these are basically the product of Western civilization. We can talk about many of the U.S. Constitution, the Magna Carta. We can talk about the parliamentary system. We can talk about the idea of modern commerce and international commerce and the different maritime commerce in this 20 and 21st century. We can also talk about the nuclear weapons. Definitely, that's one of our contributions. We can talk about the idea for dispelling a lot of the myth and superstitious nonsense and embracing reason and rationality to create a better society. And and no, we're not perfect, but we see progress in there of how women are treated. We need to go to college and the modern education system. We can talk about all the intricate details of modern agriculture and cloning and genetic engineering and gene editing. We can talk about the idea. We can talk about all the other stuff such as modern police investigation techniques and fingerprint and DNA and touch DNA. We can go into things like modern movie making and the television, and we can talk about the newest modern publishing and the explosion of knowledge of the world. My goodness, we can talk about for all these great things. And no, we're not perfect, but there's been a lot to be thankful for, don't you think? Just imagine a world without computers and cell phones and laptops and space exploration and satellite and Starlink and all the Silicon Valley and social media, the skyscraper, modern industrial machinery, industrial revolution, modern clothing, modern refrigeration. We can talk about all the artistic endeavors and all the Renaissance and the Age of Enlightenment. We can go into things like modern accomplishments and discoveries in physics and chemistry and biology and all the great things that we see, and the university system and the Oxfords and the Cambridge and the Harvard and the Yales and all the great systems of learning. We can go for over 1,000 years. There's over 1,000,000 such things. So, no, we're not perfect, but I see it's a net positive, don't you think? And also talk about it. There's a lot of talk about ancient Egypt. Okay, but based on the DNA evidence, the ancient Egyptians, going way back, were from the Levant. They were not from sub-Saharan Black Africa. They were from the Levant, here and there. And yes, there may have been black leaders in Egypt. However, that civilization, if you go way back and look at the DNA and look at the reports in the journal Nature, Journal of Science, and many of the historical and archaeological journals, the ancient Egyptians have more in common with the people of the Levant, which is in the Middle East and Lebanon and all area and all the Middle Eastern area, not from sub-Saharan black Africans. We can talk about the Moors. Well, people say the Moors were a Muslim group. They were a mixture of different groupings. However, the vast majority were they were North African. If you look at the DNA evidence is that the Moors were from North Africa. The Berbers and Mauritania and all that area from North Africa. Okay, and there might be a few Black Africans in the group, but that whole Moor civilization were not from sub-Saharan Black Africa. That's a different civilization. Yes, sub-Saharan Black Africa had many accomplishments, but I think it's quite clear that Western European civilization has had the greatest impact on humanity when it comes to modern technology, modern convenience, and all the things we see today. I would rather live today in this era than to live some 10,000 years ago. Since the past 300 years, knowledge has greatly increased. That's a fact. For the most part, 6,000 years, we drive on horse buggies. Look what we have now. We talk about, my goodness, SR-71 can go over 3,000 miles an hour. Many other great inventions, many other great scientific achievements. This is just fact. Not conjecture, not opinion, facts. The Western civilization, European civilizations have done immense work in human history. Let's embrace it, let's enjoy it.